So where we kind of worked from last class, Professor was teaching kind of this launch pad position. We're up under our partner's head. We got our hand on this side. Whenever he tries to bump and get his knee inside, which is the natural kind of movement here, he's going to try to get his knee inside. We're going to fill the space with our hips and use this grip and this grip here to base out hard on the hip, drive our hips in, close off all this space, and get active toes on the back, which is a very important part. That's why it's kind of the launch pad of our sequence here when we're going into our knee on belly, knee on chest. If you can't see on the back, my toes are not just dead. They're pointed into the mat, so I'm ready to spring up. So the technique, which this is just one of the ones we went over, but in the event he comes over to this side, we're gonna kind of accept the movement, and we were catching a belt grip here and rocking back. The movement in the last class, we slid down to the knee, checked the knee, and hit this windshield wiper over the backside, caught the knee, pulled him over, established a backside side control. Rather than going to the opposite side in this class, we're gonna accept the movement to the same side, and we're gonna use it to set up a knee on belly rather than switching sides. So, one thing you have to understand before we get started here, everything's predicated off of this elbow. If we let this elbow get inside, everything kind of goes to crap, and that's when we have to introduce one of the movements here that I'm gonna talk about is the knee on chest. If we can possibly help it, we're gonna do everything we can to not let this elbow come inside. This elbow needs to stay on the outside. This is what everything plays off of for me, and it's the same thing for this knee. We need to keep this knee out of our center line as well. Keep everything closed off. That's why I grabbed the belt here and I closed this off with my elbow, and I play super tight right here. Elbow up over, I'll play in, close it back off, bring this up to get the knee out, pull him back. We play this control here real heavy to keep this knee out. So, with that in mind, we're setting up our position right here. We got this here. So this exact scenario, he's gonna turn into us, and we're accepting the movement this way. He creates enough space to get that knee inside. We can't let that happen. We have to fill that gap with our foot. So rather than switching sides and coming over the knees here, we're accepting the movement, we're gonna play into it. We put our foot here to stop this movement. This belt grip immediately becomes a post. We're gonna push him down, pin that hip. We're in our knee on stomach here, strong base, heavy. Pull this belt down, turn your palm up, pull in, use it as a hook to him. We're stuck to him. He can tell you it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But we get here, we're gonna bring this collar on top. I play right here and I post right on top of his neck. It's not comfortable, but it's what works. The reason I play this here as opposed to on the back of the head, well, if he wants to curl up into me and start coming up, I have nothing to stop him because I'm pulling him to me with this grip. The function of this grip on the top, he can't do that. I'm just gonna lever the neck down. I can lift my elbow up, he's not getting his head up if I don't want him to. So we're getting here, pulling this down, playing heavy here. Now, we're playing this knee on belly, and that's what the main movement here is. We're popping up to this knee on belly, this is where we want to stay. But if you're facing a guy that has an excessive amount of strength, which is kind of where the birth of this movement came from and kind of where I started playing into it, just kind of instinctively, is people who are way stronger than me would just sit up into me and try and lever me off. Where we would go from here is I would switch this leg in onto the shoulder, effectively pinning the shoulder, and then I use this belt grip to check down and keep the legs off of me. So it becomes a check here. I'm using the elbow to keep these off. This is the knee on chest, right? So now we're posting off the shoulder, we're staying heavy on here, and then if I face the same problem and he starts defeating this and he starts fighting the knee, we can switch back in to this. And that's where we get this weird sequence that everyone complains about this. It's hard to deal with because it constantly changes your opponent's plans. They keep trying to compensate for the knee, and when you switch sides, they have to completely change the way they go about it. But it's extremely unpredictable and repetitive after a while, and they'll start to get the hang of it, but there's really not much they can do about it when you're just switching on top. So we come here, and whenever we start to accept this heavy movement from the top side, he starts pushing into me and playing up. No matter what I'm doing with this grip, I can't stop it. We're switching this into pin. This is more of a concept than anything. It's not really a set technique, but you have to know the cues to switch between positions. This right here on the stomach is going to be mainly for control of the hips. If he starts playing real heavy with the hips and I got to lock him down, I'm coming back in and I'm pinning. Then if he starts going real hard with these legs or these arms, I'm switching back into the shoulder. So this is for shoulder control, this is for hip control, which are the two main controls that you need to have to keep him on his back. That's why we're switching back and forth between the two to stay on top. So that in mind here, main thing we're going to work to start off, we want to stay inside this elbow. We're starting down, grip underneath the head and grip on the belt. We're playing here, he starts to turn into us. We're going to accept this movement, meet the gap with the knee to fill in that space. Push down, work on getting to this knee on belly first, and then whenever we get heavy movement from the top, we're switching to the knee on chest. We get hip movement down low, coming inside the knee. You cannot let this knee come inside. If it comes inside, we gotta cut around it, open him back up, push down with this, okay? Switching back and forth between the two. So your cue here is when we get to this knee on belly, he starts to come up real heavy with this pressure from top side. Real strong guy, we gotta defeat it. Come in with the knee, step out with this one. He starts to move heavy with the hips. I gotta cut this one inside, make space, get back to our knee on belly. And we're switching back and forth between the two. The collar, the main function of it is to pull him when I need it to be pulled and push him when I need him to be pushed. The way I play it, I'll move this hand around. Like it's pretty, wherever I need it, it goes. This stays pretty much glued to the belt unless he like does a hard hip movement and I have to post on the mat, but that's usually what this is for. So I'm gonna hold this down. That's my anchor right there. We're underneath the head. Here, whenever I pop up, this comes around, it has to. Because if I don't do this and I'm just behind the head, he can sit up into me. So this, in the knee on belly especially, has to be here. Now, whenever I come to the knee on chest, it's not necessarily as important because my knee then feels that gap. So a lot of times you'll find me like playing with hands here to keep control on the top. Or if they bump really hard, I can post to bring myself back, pull the hands up, capture an elbow here, which we'll talk about later. If I capture this elbow, he can't turn that way. So if he tries to turn away from me, I'm capturing the elbow, he can't do it. So that's another function of this. And if the hip movement, again, is too much to deal with, we go back here. This goes back to the collar. This is kind of your everything hand. This kind of stays anchored to the belt for pressure. So turn into you, whatever comes in. We're gonna go to this launch pad position, fill the hole with our hips. We're gonna catch the belt from here, anchor it down, roll back, fill this space with our leg. That's just on top, we're getting here. So one big thing that y'all started figuring out is how big it is to stay inside here and fight for inside control up top, and then also how big it is to keep this down whenever we come up. This elbow is what is going to basically be over here solo fighting both legs to keep them out and keep inside control. So when we're playing here, this elbow is doing all the work fighting these. You gotta move with the knee. So if the knee tries to come real low, we gotta drop down to defeat it. And then if it's that bad, we can switch back in. But up here, this is what's doing all the fighting as far as the legs. So this elbow is huge on the belt. And if you have to pull it back to get there, go ahead and do that. But y'all started to figure out how big it was over here. I saw a little bit. But next thing, we're kind of in this side control. Opponent turns in, same thing, launch pad, drive our hips in. He's up on his side, we're here. Grab this belt, we're rolling it down, filling the hole. So, of course, we're gonna fight as hard as we can to keep this knee out, but worst case scenario, we're gonna say he gets it in and he gets a half guard locked up on us out of this position. So he gets his half guard locked up, we're sitting here and we just lost all of our position. We need a way to recompose it. So you really got two options here. You can try to knee cut back through this side, which is probably what they're gonna expect, or we can take advantage of this belt grip right here and walk him back over. So what I like to do is here, I'll use this belt grip to walk him back to center line and I'll pinch. Get my knee super tight, I'm up on my toes here. Just keep walking, we're gonna take him to the opposite side and our hips are gonna flip. This left side knee is going behind both of his knees. We're gonna walk down. This leg right here is gonna kick out, come behind, walk it up. I like to come through here and post just to keep his legs in front of me. Walk back. We're gonna use this as a hook to pull it back into us. Here, come back to the belt, kick up. So again, we're here. He gets that knee inside, locks up that half guard. We were fighting really hard, but he gets it. We're here. We need to find a way to get back. We're gonna use this belt grip to walk him back up. We got our knees inside. I'm gonna get him up, switch this one from here, behind. Walk it, walk it, walk it, walk it. We get here, super heavy on the weight. Pick this one out as best as we can, walk him up, coil him up. Get this one behind. I post here, walk around, use this as a hook, pull him back. Swim back inside for our grips. So we're here. One more time, he walks in, gets his half guard. Here, locks it up. We gotta recompose. Put him back on his back. Get here, we're in the pinch position, up on our toes. I'm gonna switch this back knee behind, walk him down. We got our posts on the mat, I'm gonna kick this one out. As I walk him up and coil him in a ball, in it, hand comes to the mat behind the leg. We're gonna grab it as we come around, pull him with it like a hook here, retake our knee on belly. We're back in our seat. We're back in our launch position. I kind of wanted to have a submission from here, so if you're noticing, we covered the setup for both the knee on belly and the knee on chest and the applications of both of them. So the common problem you face with the knee on belly is the knee coming in and you getting locked in half guard. We got a solution for that. Another big problem here with the knee on chest is whenever we get base out here, we set up our knee on belly. I don't have the belt, but grab the pants. And we transition up to this knee on chest here, is they start trying to wrap around and just grab this leg, which is super annoying. It doesn't have a massive function for him at all. It's just very annoying. And when your leg gets locked down, you obviously can't post back out. So you're tied down to him. So if you can't handle the hip movement, you're gonna go over with him. So we got to get a solution to this. It's more annoying than anything, but as he starts to lock around this, we're gonna go back to where he's just kind of down. As we start to see him go around this, we wanna start to anticipate it, right? So we can grab this sleeve right here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lift up, pull our foot to our butt and drop down. Then we're gonna come around and grab our ankle right here. If y'all can come over here, you can probably see it better. So whenever we pull that leg up and through, and then we grab our ankle here, we got this arm locked down and we're just dropping our weight. This leg is gonna post back super hard. This hand comes around to this side and we're just gonna walk, 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 walk. And when we come over, we come up right into this Omoplata. If he's up on his face kinda, we can scoot out to get a little deeper on it and then just lift for the tap right there. You can smoothen up the transition, make it faster. You can even roll across the body into it. There's a couple different setups for it, but slow and steady here, staying super heavy, tends to work the best. So we're here, we're playing this knee on belly. We switch into our knee on chest. He's just grabbing this leg. It's super annoying. We grab this wrist right here or this sleeve. Sleeve is gonna be the best here. So we momentarily lift up, walk it through, and drop down. And we're kind of in this position here, sitting on it, playing super heavy, posted this leg back. So to make it as fluid as possible, we're gonna post this one over here and then come through there. Grab over the back so he can't roll through, but we wanna try our best to flatten him out. So scoot away and he's already tapping. Yeah. So as we scoot away, it's gonna flatten him out onto his face so he can't roll, but the main defense there is to roll over that inside shoulder to get out of it. So we wanna grab over the back to prevent that if at all possible. So again, we wind up in our knee on belly. We're right here. We got this sleeve or this lapel grip here. We step inside, get to our knee on chest. We're right here. He's grabbing this leg. Super annoying. Grab this wrist. We're gonna pop up, hook it through, sit back on it, and then we're gonna grab our own ankle right here to close off this space so he can't get his elbow to the mat. It's pretty hard, and this is a lot of elbow pressure here, or shoulder pressure. He's pretty much just to the mat right here. So we're gonna bring this hand around, staying heavy the whole time. You can make it one fluid motion if you want. And then we're right here. We want to stop as best we can. He's already a little high. So we want to scoot away and look for our finish. If he's already that far over, I'm probably going to roll him all the way through, but it's still terrible pressure right there. One more time. Or do you want me to do it on somebody else?
No, I'm good. Yeah, one more.
So we're right here on the waistband. Come up, we're going to switch in to the shoulder. He's got this leg up. One fluid motion, we're gonna pop up, kick through, sit back on it, grab our own ankle here. So again, I kind of tried to go fast and he wound up getting up higher. So, I mean, slow and steady here is really the best way to go. We're gonna walk around holding this grip as we come up, keep him flattened out, stay heavy, and he won't have a choice to come up. We're gonna fold both of our legs out, both hands on the ground here, post up. Heavy pressure down on the shoulder, lift this part of the arm up. We're isolating the shoulder, lifting the arm for the tap.